you're making money now at your art, right?
Yeah, I do commissions at the moment.
Yeah. So have you kind of thought about what your future looks like and how you're going to phase out of corporate life, or if you're going to stay in corporate life? Or
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I haven't, like, that is something that I have definitely given thought to, it, like what I ideally want. But then there's also, I guess, I start thinking about what I realistically, can achieve. And I think I've always wanted to eventually get into part-time corporate job, and then maybe part-time art. And then I feel like my thinking kind of changes, as time goes by, or even sometimes depending on my mood. But I think corporate life will always will play a small part of my life, because I do like what I do at work. I like that analytical data aspect as well. So I think in a way that's always going to be a part of me as well. And the cost of living in Sydney is insane, and I don't think I could ever make a living. Well, personally, I don't think I could make a living from art, but I know like a lot of artists who can. But for me, I think I do want to keep art as kind of like part hobby. So I do commissions, and the money I receive from those I invest back into art supplies, and I kind of keep that I guess a balance in that aspect. So my corporate life just helps, pay for my living expenses, but then my creative, what I get from my creative life, I end up investing back into it as well. So I kind of keep a balance there, and I find that just getting new art supplies sometimes makes me really happy, and keeps that creativity going. So it's always getting new art supplies is always a joy, and I think I'm lucky enough to have those commissions to be able to fund those. So yeah, I think so I guess, yeah, to answer your question, I see a mix of both in my life going forward. And sometimes I'm worried, I guess, that if I were to pursue art full time, that there would be more pressures to creating. So that in that aspect, I think
right.
I would be keeping both going forward. But I really admire what you do, Felix, and being able to do it full time, because I think that's always the dream for so many people, to make it full time as an artist, as you have done. And I think a lot of people don't see or the business aspect of having art as a career. And I think, Andrea, you do an amazing job helping with that side of things. So yeah, definitely I would say having an art as a career, I think it might not be something that people see all the aspects of
Right.
initially, because there's just so much more to it than just creating. There's also the marketing and all of that that needs to get factored into the equation as well. And I do enjoy like the creating aspect the most, which is what I want to focus on with my spare time.
Right. So as a final note to maybe from what I'm getting from your story is as a piece of advice to artists wondering that question, what do I do? Do I try to be a full-time artist or not? Maybe the answer is just be really honest with yourself about what you really want, and then take the time to check it out and see what it's actually like, maybe, right? Because you're saying, maybe it gives you a degree of freedom if you keep your day job and you're not depending on your art to make you money. Then maybe you don't have to do what Andrea and Felix are doing, which is run a full-time business, behind the art or whatever. Maybe that's not your style. Maybe you don't want to do a small business. Maybe you want to just keep your painting something you can do for commissions here and there. But it's maybe the answer is just be honest with yourself, look into it. What do you really want for yourself? And make the choice there. And if you're happy keeping a day job, then do that.
Totally. And I think also that having an art business, it's not the easiest thing in the world for sure. It's definitely a lot of work. So I think what Sebastian said, it's really important. You have to be very honest with yourself, what you think that you can do, what you believe you have time for. Also kind of what Wendy was saying, do you want this to become a job as well? Because also there are times when Felix is creating something and he's like, I don't really enjoy this, but I'm going to do it because, it's my job, like there's times like that. And do you want art to be like turn into that, or do you want it to just be kind of more of a fun thing, So I think it's really what each person wants. Like what Sebastian said, there's a couple different paths.
I think, yeah, I agree. I think it's always going to be work. Like people don't see like, oh, full-time artist, there's always going to be work. It's all work. I think working in construction, I'm thankful that I don't have to physically work, but like here like I'm still working kind of mentally and like in a way physically. In a way it's kind of similar. It's all work, it's just I'm definitely happier that it's in the creative. But I think like we talked earlier, it's like it really depends on each artist and their goal, what they want to really their goals are, and exploring, asking questions, asking other artists, hey, how are you doing, like how is it looking from your side of point of view, and kind of asking around, and maybe that will help too. Yeah. But I think that's, and you never know, like if like what you're doing is totally cool. That's what a lot of people are doing, like it's awesome, like I remember having a job and still painting, and I felt the same kind of inspiration, same kind of work, like in a way. And it's same thing, it doesn't matter like if you're full-time or not a full-time, it's art, you're creating art, and that's the yeah, so it really depends. Anyway, you
I read. Oh, you go.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I read something on Andrea's Instagram, one of your stories, and I thought that was really good advice that you shared, Andrea. That think about the risk that you're willing to take, whether you want to be depending. Are you okay with maybe like an income stream that isn't, I guess, constant? You would have like, sometimes you would have peaks and sometimes you'd have troughs, or whether you're looking after a more like a constant income stream. So I think that what you shared, Andrea, on your stories about think about the risk that what kind of risk you're willing to take. I think that's really good advice, and it would be different for everyone. I think some people would just prefer like a lifestyle where they're expecting a steady stream of income, and I think for art that's definitely not what you would be getting. So I guess taking into all considerations, I thought that was really helpful advice that you gave, Andrea.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad it could help. Yeah. I definitely think that's important. And I think it's something that is not talked about enough, because right now it's like the glamorous thing is to be like, oh, I'm a full-time artist, but it's like no one talks about like the struggle behind that as well. And I think that's really important. It's like, being a full-time artist is amazing, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot that goes into it, and like trying to maintain everything. And there is risk for sure. But there's also a lot of reward. So
definitely. Yeah, it's like we don't all have to be Gary V, you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of glamorization of the hustle and the grind, and it's like maybe that's for a certain type of person who's very driven and very motivated and wants to win and wants to be number one. But like for the rest of us, it's like I think if we're honest with ourselves, we'd be more happy with just designing a good lifestyle for ourselves that we enjoy, that's peaceful to live every day.
For sure.